So today we're going to be talking about scatter plots and making predictions based off of a scatter plot data. Okay, this is a handout, so make sure you have it so you're not having to write all these charts. Make sure you have your calculator. I'd recommend clearing the memory, second plus 712, just to start fresh. Okay, so we are going to have, and let me just move this for a second, sorry. You have this right here. It's example 1, and we have this scatter plot that we're going to be looking at right here. Okay, so the first thing I want to recognize is, what does this scatter plot represent? So if we actually look at this scatter plot, it says average daily temperature, and then visitors, and it says beach visitors. So I can conclude, based off of these points, that the higher the temperature is going up, the more likely there are visitors at the beach. Okay, which makes sense. Like, if it's hotter, people are more likely to go to the beach and swim and stuff. If it's colder, people are less likely to go out there and do that, right? So what does this scatter plot represent? When it's hotter, more people go to beach. The beach. Something like that, okay? So when it's hotter, more people go to the beach. So the second thing is, write a line of best fit. Okay, this is the stat edit stuff. And on some of the stuff, they're actually going to give you a table, which I'm giving you a table here. On some of the ones, you won't have a table, which you'll see in a second. So you have your calculator here. I'll actually move it over here, so we're going to look at it together. And you're going to hit stat edit. And I know it's a lot, but we got to type these in here. So I'm just going to go in order down, and then I'll go across. So it says 82, 84, 86, and 86. Again, 88. That says 188, so I'm going to fix that. 89. You can probably do this way faster than I can, because my computer calculator goes a little slow. 94, 94. So you're just typing in that data that's on your calculator. And then we're going over here, and then I have 85, 225, 300, 350, 450, 525, another 450, 500, 600, and 560. Okay, and like, I would go through, double check, make sure like the bottom number matches up with the bottom number, it works. And then we hit stat, over to calculate, and then we go down to number 4, which is linreg. So just like a linear regression that you've known how to do, and then it hits calculate, and we hit enter. And we're going to get some big numbers here, okay? And that's fine. What I'm going to tell you, and I'll make a little note, is we're going to be able to round to the hundredths, okay? 2 decimal places you can round to. So my slope is 31.08, blah, blah, blah. So 0.8, this 7 here, is that going to make the 8 go to 9 or stay in 8? Well, it's going to make it round up. So it's going to be y equals 31.09. So here, y equals 31.09. And then an x here. Okay? And then we go to our calculator again. And then the y-intercept is minus 2365.405. So 0.40, does this 5 make it round up or stay the same? It makes it round up, so it should be 0.41. So 2365.41 minus 2365.41. So line of best fit, that's just the equation. And if you need to make a note, that for this whole assignment you are, and you should, round to hundredths. This is an example where I'm going to allow you to round. And that's 2 decimal places. Okay, round to the hundredths, 2 decimal places. So there you go, that's stuff you've done before. Now the new thing here is we need to predict how many people would visit the beach if the temperature was 100 degrees. So predict how many people would visit the beach if the temperature was 100 degrees. Well, look here. Temperature is the x-axis. It's where the x's go, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to rewrite this whole thing. So y equals, but instead of x, you're going to put 100. Because it's 100 degrees. Okay? You with me here? So then you just do 3, 1. I'm just going to type that whole thing in the calculator. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, guys. This is what I wanted to do. There you go. So I'm just going to clear that out. And I'm not going to put the y equals, but I'm just going to type that whole thing in. Let me get my this out of the way. All right, so 31.09 parentheses 100, close it, minus 2365.41. 2365.41. I hit enter, and it says 743.59. Okay, so technically the y value here is the visitors, the people. So if you put 743.59, I mean, I count it right, but that doesn't make sense because we're talking about people here. So people, I would just round that up to 744 people. 744 people. But if you gave me a decimal, I mean, I'd still count it right, but in the real world, we wouldn't have decimal people. Okay? So it says, predict how many people would visit the beach if the temperature was 100 degrees. Well, if it's about 100, they'd have about 744. And we can check that, because this is like 96, 98, 100 would be about right here. And 744 would be about right here. So if I put a point right there, that's in line with the other points. Okay? This last one here says, predict what... I need to know what the temperature is if there are 400 visitors. So we got to think, 400 visitors. Is the visitors the x value or the y value? Well, it's the y value. So I'm going to do the exact same thing, but instead of putting 400 where the x goes, I'm going to put 400 where the y goes. So I'm going to put 400 equals, and then 31.09 minus 2365.41. And then we're just gonna solve that equation. So you can't just type this in the calculator. You actually have to solve. Oh, I'm sorry. There should be an x here. I apologize, because that x is right there. There you go. So I just need to solve this. So if I'm x, that's my best friend. I'm gonna get rid of this. So I'm gonna add 2365.41. I'm gonna add 2365.41, and that goes away. And then, so you can do that in your calculator. Why does it keep doing that? There we go. So 400 plus 2365.41, and I get 2765.41. So 2765.41 equals 31.09x, and we just divide by 31.09. I know decimals kind of suck, but you have a calculator to do it for you. So, you have a calculator, and then I'm just going to divide that number by 31.09, and it says 88.94 blah blah blah. Well, if we're talking about temperature, does a decimal make sense? Yeah, decimals make sense for temperature. So I would round it to the hundredths. So 88.9, and then this 8's going to make it round up to 5. So 88.95. So x equals, and then this is just degrees. That's the temperature. 88.95 degrees. Okay? So if you have a scatter plot, you can have a table. You can run a line of best fit, or just like a regression, an equation, and then use that equation to get different answers there for you. So let's do one more together, and then we'll be done. The only way this gets a little bit harder is if they don't give you like a table. Okay? So like this one just gives you points, but you need to fill in the table for yourself. So let's go ahead and do that first. The first thing is you want a table. So this first point right here is at 1, 2. So 1, 2. This point right here is 2, 4. This point here is at 3, and then that's 5. Just gotta make sure you know how to plot points. This is at 4, 6. This is at 5, 8. This is at 6, 9. This one's at 7, 10. 8, 11. And 9, 12. So I just put those points there, okay? However many points there are, you need to do that. So then it says, what does the scatter plot represent? So let's just look at this. This says number of chapters, and then this says number of typos found. So we can conclude that the more chapters there are, the more typos are found, right? So I'm just going to shorthand that and put more chapters means more typos. Okay? So then it says write a line of best fit or a trend line. So get your calculator. I'm going to move it over so you can see what's going on here. You're going to hit Stat, Edit, and then you have to go to the very top and hit Clear and down to get those numbers to go away. So I'm going to type these in, and this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, no. 8 and 9. And then 1 is 2, 2 is 4, 3 is 5, 4 is 6, 5 is 8, 6 is 9, 7 is 10, 8 is 11, and 9 is 12. So you gotta make sure you double check and everything looks good. And then we do our stat, over to calc, and then linear regression, which is 4. We do that, and then all the way down to calculate. And we hit enter. And there we go. 1.2333333. So we can round to the hundredths. So that'll be 1.23. Does this 3 make it go up or stay the same? It stays the same. So it's going to be y equals 1.23x. And then we look at our y-intercept here, and it's 1.277. So 27, does this 7 make it go up to an 8 or stay a 7? It makes it go up to an 8, so it's 1.28. So plus 1.28. That's our equation. That's awesome. And then we're going to use that to write some predictions. So predict how many typos a 15-chapter book would have. So 15 chapters. So remember, chapters is here or here, which is the x-axis, x side of the table. So that the 15 is going to go where the x goes. So I'm just going to put here y equals 1.23, but instead of x, I'm going to put in a 15. Like that. You can do it in your head, or you can just do it in the calculator. So 1.23, parentheses 15, close it, plus 1.28. And then we hit enter, and it gives us 19.73. Now yet again, if you gave me 19.73, I would count it. But this is talking about typos. You can't have 0.7 of a typo. It doesn't work that way. So I'm just going to round up to 20. So you can have 20 typos. But if you put 19.73, I'd count it. Just know what makes sense in the real world. Then it says predict how many chapters a book with 7 typos should have. 7 typos. So if we look here, it should be somewhere between 4 and 5, because this is 6 and 8. But well, let's see. So remember, typos is on the y-axis, or on the y side of the table. So this 7 is a y value. So I'm going to go back to this equation, but instead of y, I'm going to put 7 equals, and then this equation, 1.23x plus 1.28. And then we solve that equation. So I'm going to subtract 1.28. So you get your calculator, and you do 7 minus 1.28, and you get yourself 5.72. This is 1.23x. Then you divide by 1.23. This is just basic solving you've been doing since the beginning of the year, or all of last year. So 5.72 divided by 1.23. So I'm just going to hit divided by 1.23, hit enter, and it gives me 4.65, right? Which is where we thought it would be. We thought it would be between 4 and 5. So you could put 4.65, or I'd round it up to 5 chapters, but you can give me either. So you could give me 4.65, but in the real world you're not going to have 0.6 of a chapter, so I'm going to write 5 chapters. So you write a regression. A line of best fit, that means the equation. Get your equation, and then you just use that information to plug in and get yourself some information. Okay? There you go. Let me know if you have any questions.